Welcome to Lesson 11 of our course on Philippine Indigenous Communities. If you can remember, in our previous lesson, we dealt with the philosophy and principles of traditional knowledge. This time, we will look into the effectiveness, sustainability, and cultural significance of the same. I mean, traditional knowledge. As a source of review, when we talk about traditional knowledge, we are referring to a body of wisdom, skills, and practices that indigenous peoples have developed through long-term interaction with their environment. By the end of this lesson, students should be able to first evaluate the effectiveness and sustainability of traditional knowledge practices, comparing them with modern systems. Second, the students are expected to be able to recognize how traditional knowledge supports cultural identity and intergenerational learning. Effectiveness and sustainability of traditional knowledge practices. Let's first look into agriculture. Muyong system of the Ifugao, if you could remember, we have mentioned it many times in our previous lessons, refers to integrated forests and farming system, which maintains social fertility, water regulation, and biodiversity. Another thing that we can cite is the Sweden farming of the Lumad and the Sobanon. Sustainable if given rest cycles, and it supports multiple crops without chemical use. Yes, without even the need to use chemicals. And compared to modern farming, traditional knowledge is more sustainable, but may be limited in large-scale commercial output. As an example, the continued productivity of the Ifugao rice terraces despite centuries of use. Now, how about shelter? We can cite Bahay Kubo or the Turugan or the Bajau stilt houses. These houses use locally available materials. They are naturally ventilated and disaster resilient. And compared to concrete homes, traditional homes adapt better to tropical climates and require fewer external inputs. So one good example that we could cite is the Maranao Turugan houses, which are earthquake resistant due to flexible wood construction. Now let's proceed to health. Herbal and spiritual healing, example the tawak, the hilot, they are cost-effective and community-based. And compared to pharmaceuticals, herbal medicine is locally accessible, but lacks widespread scientific validation. So this is one thing that we need to explore as a community. So one good example is the use of Lagundi and Sambong among Aita and Manubo communities for respiratory and kidney ailments. And now the Philippine Food and Drug Authority is now recognizing the benefits, the health benefits of using Lagundi and Sambong. Now, how about environmental care? Traditional knowledge practices often embed conservation because they believe in sacred forests and taboo on over-harvesting, and they have also water rituals. So sustainability is a core principle when we talk about environmental care. Unlike extractive modern resource practices. So one good example is the Tiduray communities. They manage forest zones with spiritual and ecological protocols. Now, let's take a look at the cultural significance of traditional knowledge. First, traditional knowledge is a cultural identity. We have the language, rituals, and crafts that transmit worldviews. Traditional knowledge provides meaning and rootedness in community and place. So, let me cite again the example of the tinalak weaving of the Tiboli, which represents ancestral dreams and feminine spiritual power. Aside from that, traditional knowledge is also a means of social cohesion because it fosters unity through shared rituals, farming, music, and games. And decision-making and conflict resolution are also guided by traditional norms. Let me cite again the example of the Bodong system of the Kalinga, which helps avoid intertribal conflict through customary law. So, in addition to that, traditional knowledge is also an intergenerational means of transmission because elders pass knowledge orally through chants, stories, and apprenticeships. And it links the past, the present, and of course the future. Again, let me cite the example of the Hudhud chants of the Ifugao, which are taught to children during rice planting and harvesting seasons. So in conclusion, let me reiterate that traditional knowledge is not only effective and sustainable in managing natural resources and well-being, but it is also a vessel of culture and identity. Traditional knowledge practices ensure resilience in agriculture, housing, and medicine. They strengthen social bonds and transmit ancestral wisdom. And in the face of modern challenges, traditional knowledge offers insights for sustainable development and cultural survival. So, in view of this, let me say that preserving traditional knowledge is preserving the soul of a people. For further exploration of this topic, we have provided certain references wherein you can consult. So next meeting, we will proceed to lesson 12, which is about strategies on how to preserve and promote traditional knowledge. Thank you and see you then.